what type of things are you looking for in a person who is coming through the ranks, let's say in HR or people and culture? What types of things are you looking for to, I suppose, mold them and coach them, but not in a way that obviously you're telling them what to do? Like, what I suppose that coaching side is quite different. Like, but what's the angle that you take, Tony?
It's all about, I think, and many of your guests have spoken about this. It's about the curiosity, curiosity to learn, curiosity to absorb information, curiosity to be open-minded enough to understand that, there's a lot of things we do not know, and we don't know what we don't know, right? That's the thing. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to learn, and I think for me, there's always a baseline. There's a baseline of what people should be able to grasp first, and then after that, everything else is a bonus. And in HR, the one key thing which I think HR people need to grasp is business literacy early on, because I mean, face it, HR without commercial acumen is just administration, right? With good intentions. So I would say for any people who are starting off in HR, who want to know what's the first thing they need to do is understand P&L. To know what keeps a CEO awake at night. That is gold. Speak the language of the business, not just the language of HR. Get that first, and then you can talk about, right, what other niches do I build on? And one more thing about HR is, don't confuse being liked with being respected. Yeah. You cannot be a great HR person and also be everyone's best friend. So I learned that early on. I made some mistakes early on as well about that. Sometimes the most important things you will ever do to someone is tell them, have that hard conversation, hard chat, and tell them that, hey, I've got some feedback for you. It's going to be critical. It's not going to be comfortable, but you'll learn from it. So learning from that, learn to do that. That's the start.
That's a really good point, and it's a point that's been made by a number of podcast guests, HR Engaged podcast guests, around that commercial acumen and knowing how the business basically makes money, or if it's not for profit, how it's to get more members or whatever the goal of the organization might be, but actually know what that is, because that obviously makes it tick.
It makes it easier for you to have the conversation.
Yes.
With the board, because then you say, right, they say, oh, you're not just fluffy, because you know how they say HR is very fluffy. We're not fluffy. We understand what it means. Without people, you can't run an organization.
Where do you think HR professionals make mistakes in that point? So what I'm really asking is, if they don't get that commercial acumen or commercial understanding right, or don't want to know, there's other parts to it. They don't want to know, not interested. Where do you think the mistakes are then made by HR professionals?
I would say, think about it this way though. HR has a great credibility that you got to live on, right? And it lives and dies on your courage. So every time HR stays silent in the room where you should have spoken up, maybe because they want to so-called protect their seat, to avoid conflict, to make someone comfortable, you erode the value of HR. So the job is to say what others will not. That's where a lot of HR people need to develop that, right? If you cannot do that, you're not doing HR. You're just doing, paperwork with a fancier title.